Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. If you always watch our channel, you may know that the news about the Sino-US Chip War. The Sino-US Chip War has always been the focus of Chinese people's attention in recent years. The United States has been continuously increasing its efforts to block China's ability to obtain advanced chips and manufacture semiconductors. In March 2022, it also joined forces with Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan to form the Quadruple Chip Alliance, will completely start to chase and intercept mainland China in the field of chip research and development, and exclude us. The successive bad news has always made the Chinese worried about Chinese chips. If the United States has been stuck in the production of high-end chips, when will China achieve cornering overtaking? We must know that no matter how self-media bloggers follow suit and advocate China's ability to independently produce chips, when we face reality, we still have to rationally look at the gap between ourselves and the United States. Today, let us objectively analyze the Sino-US Chip War. How sure are you that you can defeat the United States? What is the history of chip development in China and the United States? The development of modern science and technology has opened a new era of human civilization in less than 100 years. You must know that before the 1980s, China was still in a state of closed country. After 40 years of development, China has become the second largest economy in the world. As a whole, such a fast economic development rate will inevitably make the United States worry. Since the founding of the People's Republic of China, the technological competition between China and the United States has never stopped. From the original Cold War period to today's high-tech chip technology, technological development has always determined a country. The lifeblood of the country, the next 10 years will be the highlight of the digital economy. It will be the final battle to decide who can surpass the other in China and the United States. After the financial crisis in 2008, both the United States and China realized that technological innovation is the key to achieving rapid economic development. The United States introduced a series of plans to reshape the American manufacturing industry. The United States did not master the core technology and relied more on imports. Global chip production has been concentrated in East Asia, such as TSMC, Samsung, and SMIC in mainland China. With China's continuous development, the threat theory about us has been clambering above the public opinion of the Western media, and the chip field is an important field related to the country's military development. The current US sanctions against China are exactly the same as those against the Soviet Union. Introduced the Chips and Science Act in August 2022. It is expected to provide $52.7 billion in policy subsidies for the semiconductor industry within 5 years, trying to keep the US chip industry in a leading position. Advanced chip companies such as Nvidia, Qualcomm, and AMD will continue to be restricted by the United States for export. Beginning on October 8, 2022, the United States has announced a series of new semiconductor export control measures, such as prohibiting American companies such as Nvidia from selling chips to China, restricting American manufacturers from selling semiconductor equipment to China, and restricting American and Chinese exports to China. Any form of help from semiconductors is intended to limit China's development in supercomputers and artificial intelligence. In the short term, the United States has severely damaged China's chip manufacturing industry, but in the production of chips above 14 millimeters, China has completely achieved domestic substitution, which can meet the development and application of most artificial intelligence, computers, automobiles, and electronic products. And in terms of high-end semiconductor materials, chip production equipment, software, etc., China has mastered most of the core technologies and markets. When the United States stopped exporting chip manufacturing and related equipment to China, China also stopped importing electronic products and software from the United States. In 2021, China's semiconductor imports will reach $440 billion, while oil imports will only be $25.73 billion. China has long been the world's largest importer of semiconductors. The United States wins over the Chip Four-Party Alliance through anti-globalization and anti-trend methods, which also makes them lose China's huge consumer market. It is estimated that they will lose at least 576.6 billion yuan a year, and China is also the world's largest consumer of new energy vehicles and markets. Producer countries. There are about 71.8 million car sales in the world every year. It is conservatively estimated that at least 36 billion chips are needed, and the semiconductor manufacturing process required for this will very quickly promote the rapid localization of China's semiconductors. It is expected that more and more chips will be produced in China. China's domestic production, China's semiconductor production, in 2021 has reached 359.4 billion, an increase of 33.3% year-on-year. How Chinese chips became the final winner. No matter how the US pursues and intercepts it, historical experience tells us that it is impossible to win the Cold War by relying on a blockade. The current global economy is unstoppable. The US ignores the interests of its own country's enterprises and allies, and will definitely be backlashed by its own stupid decisions. When TSMC founder Zhong Zhongmo was forced to take sides with the US, he said, "Globalization has almost disappeared, and free trade has almost disappeared." The Sino-US Chip War has affected too many related technology manufacturers. In such a tense situation, under such circumstances, we believe that China still has a great chance of winning. The reasons are as follows. First, the economic losses and stock losses of European, American, Korean and Taiwanese companies that have stopped exporting chips to China have reached a critical point that cannot be further reduced. Samsung hit its lowest level in its 8-year history, and to make matters worse, its stock price has also fallen by more than 24% in the past year. And like ASML and Nvidia, it has dropped by more than 35%. Who will bear these losses? Will it be borne by the United States? I don't think so. And because of our superiority, we will not leave it alone. We have invested $140 billion to develop the semiconductor industry chain. We must believe that we have the spirit and strength to concentrate on doing great things. The semiconductor companies are supported by our country. Second, semiconductor technology is not insurmountable. all the sciences it applies to are mature technologies at this stage. Even the most advanced 3mm technology is beyond it. Our domestic chips will definitely go on a journey. Third, China's high-tech industry has never stopped making progress. For example, we at Huawei have developed a number of technology patents, and at the same time have technology exchanges with various high-end chip companies. For example, if Samsung wants to use our patents, then you need to exchange something equivalent to it. All patent authorizations like this will greatly speed up the process of our independent research and development of chips. This kind of technology authorization cannot be prevented by the United States, nor can it be solved. Globalization is unstoppable, and the United States is doomed to fail if it goes against the trend. You must know that the United States has been controlling the development of our economy and technology for a long time in history, but it is only delusional to rely on sanctions to prevent the development of a country. Just like when the United States became independent at that time, the United Kingdom also introduced a series of trade technology. The law restricts the development of the United States, and the final result ends in failure. Although China's technology has been severely damaged by this series of suppression, isn't this a new way out for our technology to achieve independent control? We must look at all this rationally, and more importantly, treat it with a scientific development perspective. While insisting on independent research and development, we should not rest on our laurels, and never give up any opportunities to communicate and cooperate with international standards and first-class chip companies. We should learn humbly and keep a low profile. There is a saying in China that goes, "If you lose your fortune, you know it's not a blessing." It is a pragmatic and wise move to believe that our domestic chips will turn crises into opportunities sooner or later.